Are you looking to get your first tattoo but you're not sure about how to choose an artist? Stay with us to find out a few tips and more. Hey guys, I'm HayleeTattooer and welcome to Tattoo Talk. Today we're going to be talking about how to choose a tattoo artist based on the style that you want. Now I'll do a separate video just to talk about different styles of tattooing so that you're able to identify the difference between what you want to get and what your tattoo artist actually does. Now the best way to start off with this is just start on Instagram, follow a few artists, check out who they're following and have a look through the artists that they're following and perhaps follow them. And start to get a feel for the styles that you'd like to see on your body. So once you've defined the style that you like and you've got a good idea of the content of your tattoo, the best way to do it would be to find an artist who specialises in that style. The reason that you want to do this is because a lot of people tend to just find a good tattoo artist and assume, oh, they'll be great at everything. They're good at that, they'll be great at everything. Not true. There are a lot of tattoo artists that really do tattoo across the spectrum of styles, and that's fantastic. And then there are people that really specialise in one or two strong styles. I would recommend going to somebody who specialises in a certain style just because you know that you're going to get the best quality within that genre that you possibly can. Your next decision is to decide whether you're happy to travel to see the artist that you want. Sometimes you're going to need to go outside the city that you live in to find a tattoo artist that specialises in your style. If you live in a large city, you're very lucky that you've probably got a large selection of artists to choose from. But if you're living in a small to medium-sized town, chances are that there are not going to be local tattoo artists that do exactly the style that you want, if it's a larger tattoo. So if you're looking at getting just a small size tattoo, small line work, something small and floral, words, something off Pinterest, chances are that there will be a good quality tattooer locally that will be able to help you out. And the best way to find them is word of mouth. So if you've got friends, family that have been tattooed locally, they'll be able to give you recommendations. Look at their work if you can. Instagram is the best tool. Facebook and Instagram, good quality artists will put samples of their work up. Now, if an artist specialises in large scale work, just be aware they may have a minimum tattoo requirement. So if you're looking at an artist who does large scale black and grey realism or large scale colour realism, they may not be willing to take on script. And this is why it's important to choose the correct artist. If you want something small, you need to find an artist that specialises in nice, tight, clear line work. If your tattoo is a large-scale black and grey piece, you need to find an artist that specialises in large-scale black and grey. So you've done your research on Instagram, you've spoken to people locally, and you've decided who your artist is. The next point of call would be to contact that artist. Now, a lot of tattooers, some prefer private email, some don't mind if you call, some people prefer in person. You need to find out what that artist prefers in terms of contact. So it will usually be in their Instagram bio or their Facebook page. They'll have instructions on contact. Whether some tattoo artists have a contact form on their website that you need to fill out that has a lot of questions. You need to read those questions carefully and answer them specifically. So it's very important to contact your artist in their preferred method. A lot of tattoo artists feel very strongly about people messaging them through their personal Facebook pages or Instagram direct messages. The reason for this is it's easier for us to streamline all of our communications through to one method so that nothing gets missed or lost. And also with Facebook and Instagram, if you're not directly linked with that person, your messages go through to a different inbox, so they're probably not going to get found for weeks or months. So make sure that you check the preferred method, and the next thing is to make sure that your email or your inquiry has all the important points in it so that your artist doesn't have to come back to you with questions. So a couple of things to include in your inquiry, your initial email. Firstly, probably start off with a little bit of an introduction. Nothing too big, but it's kind of rude when people send through things like, how much for this? Let's start with, hi, I'm Hayley. I've been following your work for a little bit. I love this style. My idea is, and then include a brief description of the idea that you want. You need to include placement on your body. So I'm looking at getting this on my left upper arm and or my calf muscle, the entire calf, on the back, on the front, the shin, the wrist. You just include the placement because the way that artists draw things up is to fit the space exactly. We don't just draw something up on paper and then it just magically fits perfectly on the body. We need to know where it's going. Now, another thing to include is approximate size. Placement usually gives this away, but not all the time. The reason that you need to include size is so that we can draw up the correct amount of detail for the sizing. So another thing to include in your initial contact email are photo references. Now, a good tattoo artist will never copy references line for line. They'll just use it as an example of where you want to go with your design and then take their artistic license to make it into something beautiful for you and original. So attach maybe 2 to 3 reference pictures. 20 reference pictures is probably a little bit over the top, but 2 to 3 are just a good starting point for your artist, just so they can look at it and say, okay, they like this content, okay, they like this style, just so that we can be on the same page. The rest of that may be done during a consult appointment. So you need to include a description of your idea, size, placement, reference materials, and something else would be to include your availability, but that can also be done at a later date. And then maybe thank your artist for their time and then leave your contact information and sign off. So if you include all of these things in the email, then that way you're at a good starting point. Your artist doesn't have to come back to you and say, what size do you want, what placement, so that they can get a better idea to give you a quote. So prior to contacting your artist, it's probably a good idea to get in your head what you're willing to spend on your tattoo. Now, you need to be realistic here. You're not going to get a masterpiece for $50. It's just not going to happen. A saying in the tattoo industry is, good tattoos aren't cheap and cheap tattoos aren't good. But every shop has a minimum. Minimum charges range between $80 to $200. And artists have a wide range of hourly rates. Most tattoo artists will run off an hourly rate. An hourly rate could be expected to be anywhere from $100, perhaps $100 an hour for an apprentice, or someone in a lower economy area, all the way through to $250 to $300 an hour, and higher for more famous tattoo artists. But the median is probably $150 to $200 an hour. So I guess what you're going to look for is a quote from the artist on their hourly rate and the amount of time that it's going to take. Sometimes it's hard for an artist to look at a design or look at an idea and give you an exact figure. They'll probably give you a range. Budget for the upper portion of the range and you will be covered. So once you've sent your email or your contact form to your tattoo artist, just be patient. Some tattoo artists will get back to you within minutes, but most of the time we're busy tattooing. So expect to wait a couple of days to a couple of weeks for the more busy artists. Some tattooers prefer to tackle their work emails in big chunks, once a fortnight or something like that. So just be patient, wait for them to get back to you, and once they've gotten back to you, they'll have a couple of questions. They might like to set up a consult appointment. Sometimes for us as artists, it's easier to book a consult so that we can talk to you in person, get a bit of an idea of what kind of person you are, anything that gives us insight into how we're going to put together your tattoo. Another thing to expect during the booking process is for the artist to request that you pay either a booking fee or a deposit. A booking fee is non-refundable. That is taken at the point of the booking being made. It's just for basically to solidify the appointment and to book it into the schedule and for them to start the drawing process. A deposit, however, is usually refundable on certain conditions. So make sure that you're aware of the booking policy. The artist will usually have a copy of it either on their Facebook page, on their studio Facebook page, or terms and conditions in an email. Make sure you read it. A lot of artists will not refund the deposit if you cancel your appointment within a certain amount of time prior to the booking, or if they've done the drawing, the deposit may not be refundable in certain circumstances. So just make sure that you're aware of those things. Now, you'll need to also be open to the fact that you may not see your design until the day of the appointment. Because of the sheer volume of drawings that we have to do for our clients, a lot of the time it's better for us to do the design just before your appointment, just so that all the line work, all the information is fresh in our mind, it's fresh on paper. That way for the next day, when you come to your appointment, we can show you the design. Most tattoo artists are very happy to make last minute changes to the design, especially if it's done digitally. So if you come in on the day and there's something that you're not entirely happy with, don't stress, your artist will sort that out with you at the time of the appointment. And there may be a specific reason that they've drawn it that certain way, and they'll explain that to you as part of the appointment. So the next step after you've made contact, discussed the design, gotten a quote, you're happy with the price, is to talk about availability. Depending on your artist, they may be super booked up, they might have time available during the week. You really need to bend to their schedule. It makes it much easier if we can build you into our busy schedule. So if that means taking a day off work or throwing a sick day, maybe it will just be easier to do it. And that's it. So a quick recap: choosing the right artist based on the style, researching that artist to make sure that they are the correct artist for the genre that you want, contacting the artist in their preferred contact method, including all of the information that you can in your initial contact, and then budgeting and scheduling an appointment that suits you and your artist. So thanks for tuning into Tattoo Talk. I'll have more videos coming through. If you have questions, leave them in the comments and don't forget to subscribe.